Hi everyone, I'm Jodi. Welcome to my channel. I'm really glad that you're here today. And if you are looking for a good concealer to cover up that under eye area without breaking the bank, then I've got you covered in today's topics. We're also going to cover my favorite lipstick, lip liner combinations, also from the drugstore, so you can look your best whether it's your under eye area or your lips without spending a fortune. So if you are ready, let's just jump right into today's video. All right, so as we dive into today's video, I wanted to share some really exciting news with you guys. If you have followed me for any length of time, you may or may not know that I published a children's book back in 2009 called What Color Is Your Rainbow? Well, I had never written a children's book before. I didn't really even know anyone that had written a children's book, so I wasn't sure how to go about getting it published. After I wrote it, I went to Barnes & Noble back in the day and Borders bookstores, and I went to the children's section and just started looking at the back of books to see who published the book. After I had done that homework for a couple weeks, I had sent my manuscript to 17 different publishing companies, and after 3 months, I heard nothing. So I thought, well, easy come, easy go. I didn't know what I didn't know. Then at about the middle of the 4th month, I received an email back from one of the publishing companies who loved the story of the book. They wanted to publish it, and so I was fortunate enough to go through that publishing process with them. And it took about a year before it was actually a live book. And I was really excited when it finally became an actual book that you could purchase on Amazon, because I wanted to give a portion of the proceeds back to school libraries so that kids that are in maybe underprivileged areas could still have access to books. Well, I was excited to be able to promote the book through different book signings and stuff at bookstores. And unfortunately, a year and a half after the book was published, the publishing company went out of business because the owners were in trouble with the federal government for tax evasion. So the children's book dream of mine kind of came and was then put on hold. There were copies of the book that still floated around from the publisher up until the point that the inventory ran out. And that's where I thought the story had ended. But last November, a publishing company reached out to me and said they had a copy of my book and they absolutely loved the story and what the story meant, and they wanted to publish it. So we went through all of the legalities of getting released from the previous publishing company and the new company. Not only did we change some things in the book, we changed the size of it, we made it into a hardback, but they also did new illustrations and made some other suggestions that I was all for. Fast forward to now, I'm so excited that the book is available on Amazon. It's a hardback, which I really love about it. And it's just got the whole little story and the detail on the back, but I love the new size of it. The illustrations are really bright, fun colors. The vocabulary and the verbiage is easy enough for younger kids to read. I really wrote this book for, 5 to 12-year-olds in mind. And without giving too much of the story away, it's about diversity. And if you look close at the characters, there's a boy that's in a wheelchair. One of the boys has a hearing aid. But what's unique about it is that each of the individual characters are unique in their own way, just like each individual color of a rainbow. Very unique and special, but when you put the colors together, it creates something completely magical like a rainbow. And so it's really meant to talk about what color is your rainbow, how many different colors do you have in your life in terms of the people that you surround yourself with. It's just a fun story about diversity and accepting people that are different than you while still recognizing, celebrating, and embracing their unique differences. So I'm super excited that it's back available. Again, it's on Amazon, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So if you're looking for something fun for younger kids, about 5 to 12, I think it's a really good story and I think you will enjoy it. Really super proud about that, and I know you guys are supportive of anything that I do, so I wanted to let you know that that is available. Okay, so now while you're all here, let's talk about concealers from the drugstore that I will put a stamp of approval on that work for our more mature skin. The key to any concealer working, whether you have oily skin or dry skin, is applying a good moisturizer to that under eye area before you apply your concealer. I like to use this L'Oreal Collagen. It's moisture filler. I've talked about this several times as of late because I've really enjoyed it. And I use this every morning and every night. And I use about that much underneath my eyes. I rub it in and really let that absorb into my skin so that my under eye area is very, very hydrated. And once that's absorbed, I let it sit in there for maybe 3 to 4 minutes to really let my skin absorb all of that nutrients and get more of a plump, dewy look to it. After your skin is hydrated and plump and moist, then you have to decide, do you need a color corrector and a concealer, or do you just need a concealer? If you have some discoloration under your eyes, you're gonna wanna reach for a color corrector. Let that go onto your skin to neutralize any discoloration, purple, blue, red underneath your eyes, and then apply that concealer. What you don't want to do is try to apply a thicker, highly pigmented concealer thinking you're going to cover up the discoloration and conceal. You will, but not without the side effects of being very cakey and settling into fine lines and wrinkles. So that color correctors first and then your concealers. So let's start, and these are in no particular order, but each one's for a little different skin type. The first one is the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer in Matte. Now this can be somewhat drying, so this is recommended for those of you that have more oily skin underneath your under eye area. If you find that your makeup slips under your eyes, or if you wear glasses and you find that your lenses are constantly slipping because your under eye area is producing oil, then this would be a really good one for you to try. It is highly pigmented. It's a little bit on the thick side, but it blends very, very nicely. It is water-based, so it works well with your water-based tinted moisturizers and your water-based foundations. You can just see how highly pigmented this one is and how well it covers. Again, it can be drying, so for those of you with oily skin, this is a great choice. It lasts 16 hours. I have tested it. It does last 16 hours. And if you have oily skin, you can also just set it with a little bit of powder and you would love this. If you have dry skin though, this is not the one I would reach for. Instead, the next concealer, which is the e.l.f. Hydrating Concealer, both by e.l.f., both cruelty-free, oily skin, dry skin. This one has a hydration to it, and it is not nearly as drying. It's not a matte. It brightens the under eye area. However, it is equally as pigmented as the 16-Hour Camo Concealer, as you can see there, and covers very nicely. Now, if you have dry skin, this is your better bet, and you do want to set this with just a little bit of soft, light dusting of powder to really hold it in place. If you have glasses, that's an absolute must so that those lenses don't slip down your face. So e.l.f. is a great option. You just want to know which one is the right formula for your under eye area. Next up, and these are in no particular order, they're just more skin type specific, is the NYX Wonder Stick. Now this is going to be best for those of you with combination skin or dry underneath your eye area and may have just a little bit of discoloration to your skin, but not enough to wear a color corrector. This comes in a little bit more of a lipstick type formula. It's a little bit more waxy, a little easier to apply, but harder to blend in. And by harder, I mean just takes a little more effort than a concealer with maybe a doe foot applicator like the ones that e.l.f. have. Now this one is easy to apply because of how thick this is to hold on to. And as a bonus, there's a contour on the other end, but we'll get to that in a second. For those of you that might be having some dexterity challenges as you get older, this thicker tube is easier to hold on to. It also makes it easier to apply the product to your under eye area. It's highly pigmented. The only effort that really needs to be put into it is when you go to blend it. It's a little bit more of a waxy consistency. Now it does not take very much, and the less you use, the easier it is to blend into your skin. So if you're looking for a little bit more pigmentation, but easier application, then this might be the right option for you. And as I mentioned, it's got that nice contour on the other side. So if you want to do a little bit of contouring, you could do that as well. For those of you that have darker skin, if you can't find a concealer that works well for you, you might want to go to NYX Wonder Stick and look for some of those contours that are typically darker, but they might still be the right concealer color for your under eye area. So don't overlook those just because they say they're contour. It might be exactly the shade that you're looking for. Up next requires a little bit of modification for it to be on my list. It does work well. It just needs a little bit of help around the application, and that is the Maybelline Erase. Now, I do like these. In fact, there's a pink one that I could not find that I used to use all the time. I really like the pink one because for me, it helps to brighten up this under eye area. So if you just need to brighten and you're not trying to conceal anything, then this comes in a pink, and I just cannot seem to find mine. The one thing I would say with these, they work very well. They work best, I think, with setting powder. Otherwise, I find that it does slip a little bit, but it lasts all day. It blurs out that under eye area, which is definitely a plus. Now, when it comes to the Maybelline Erase, I would encourage you to just take that sponge tip applicator and just toss it away. That is a bacteria party going on inside that sponge tip applicator. It's damp and it's dark, and that's really all bacteria needs to increase their population, which is not really what I'm looking for, especially something that's going that close to my eye. So once you take that sponge tip applicator off, you're left with just this nice, simple little head of a concealer. You just twist it up from the bottom, add a little to your synthetic brush, and you are good to go with just applying it wherever you need it to go, and then blend it in. It's very easy to use, and like with all these other concealers, it works best on top of hydrated under eye area and a little dusting of setting powder, and this will help cover this under eye area and helps with blurring for hours. So this is one of my favorites. The other way I like to use this is I use the pink one that I mentioned, and then there's a darker one that I like. If I'm going to be using full coverage foundation, then I will use usually the NARS bronze cream, probably number 2 or number 3. But when it comes to summer and I'm doing more of a tinted moisturizer, then I like to grab the darker color of this. Again, I think it's espresso, but I'll leave it down below, and use that as a contour just up in this area. A little bit goes a long way, and you can really blend it out nicely. So a lot of different uses for a variety of colors or shades with this one, with this Maybelline multi-use concealer. It's a good one to have on hand. All right, and then the last one, you guys, this is an interesting one that I just picked up kind of on a whim to try some new makeup, and I was impressed with how well it worked. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, maybe PlayDoh. It's P-A-L-L-A-D-I-O, and I picked this up at Sally Beauty Supply. I'm not sure where else you can get it, actually. I had never seen it in an Ulta, for example, but again, I picked it up at Sally, and this would work nicely. It's a small doe foot applicator, and let's just go with this spot on my hand right here. This one is not nearly as pigmented or as thick. So this is good for people that just want a little bit of brightening under the eye. They don't need a thicker concealer like some of the ones that I mentioned earlier. It's just a light formula, a light coverage, and just gives a little bit of dewiness to that under eye area without bringing too much shine or too much awareness or highlight to the under eye area. I didn't need to set this one with a powder for it to stay all day. This is to concealer like tinted moisturizer is to foundation. So it's a more sheer coverage. It blends out very nicely, and I just found it to be a very natural look, where some of these other ones like the e.l.f. can just be a little bit more thick and highly pigmented. This one is just a little bit more of a soft, natural look, so I really enjoyed that. All right, so we've covered our under eye area, we've blurred away the lines, we've reversed the signs of aging. Not really, but we're feeling better about our overall makeup look. And now it's time to move on to our lips without adding too much color. We just want a nice, soft, natural look, sort of that nude lip going into summer. Now, these are some of my favorites, you guys, and they do not cost much at all. In fact, you'll find that you just need 1 or 2 lip liners and a few different lipsticks to create a variety of different looks. Now, I'm not going to try them all on because I've done that before and my lips just don't love the fact that I've done that a million times. So we're going to use my arm today, and that's just going to be what we're going to do. So for those of you that have darker skin, or you like a darker lip but a natural berry color, which is very in for summer, one of the must-have lip liners in my opinion is Cherry Skies by NYX. This is one of their matte lip pencils. I love NYX lip pencils because they're not a gel. They're soft enough to not feel like they're tugging on my lip. They're highly pigmented, but it's a hard enough formula that you can line your lip. It will go through those little cracks that we have, or those smoker lines on your lips, and it will just go right through those without filling them in. You guys know what I'm talking about. When there's a gel liner, it just feels too soft, and when you go to make that line, it gets lost in the crevices and the hills and the valleys of the lines, where a pencil that's more stiff of a formula can glide right over those and leave you with a straight line, straight edge for you to then fill in with your lipstick. Okay, so this one is in Cherry Skies. It's matte. And then here are the two lip sticks, if you will, that you're gonna love with this lip liner. They're both by Maybelline. They're both from this vinyl collection, which I love because it's a Superstay, long-lasting wear. They look like a lip gloss, but they last for hours. The first color is in Witty. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And if you've got darker skin tones, those are both more of a cool type shade. So, so pretty. So I'm gonna go back in with that same Cherry Skies. And I'm going to now apply, this color is Lippy. You are supposed to shake these, so let me be fair. You guys, I have done a few videos on these vinyl Superstay lip colors by Maybelline, and I was really afraid they were gonna be drying on our more mature lips, and they were not. I'm so impressed by them. These two colors look equally nice together. This Lippy is a little bit more of a warm tone, where Witty is a little bit more of a cool tone, but that one lip liner can work with either one of these, which would also look very pretty on its own, just as a lip pencil with a little bit of gloss over it. So that is a must have for spring, summer, and I think those would be pretty for fall as well. Now let's go on to the second set that I think is equally as beautiful, and this is the Milani in Natural. I love this one. It's a little softer formula, so it doesn't quite give that hard straight line that the NYX do, but it's a very pretty color, and if you just go a little slower, you can do it. I just like stuff to go fast. With this color, I like to use Koi, which is a little bit more cool, and that lip pencil is very neutral. And then the other Maybelline that looks really good, and you guys, I'm not sponsored by Maybelline. You would think I was because I love these lip vinyls so much, but I'm not. The other one that goes really good with this Natural by Milani is Peachy. And I've talked about this one before, but that is just such a pretty color. Now that's very neutral, where the Koi is a little bit more on the cool side. These different varieties look really pretty, whether you're doing a full glam of makeup or you're doing just a little bit of maybe mascara and a little touch on the cheeks. You don't need to have full glam to wear these. These can be your statement piece. The lipsticks run between $9 and $12 depending on where you find them. And because these are drugstore, you can find them at typically your drugstores, your Rite Aid, your Walgreens, your CVS. You can find most of these colors at Walmart. You can find additional colors probably at Ulta as well, the Maybelline website. So they're readily available, a wide variety of colors. These are just some of my favorite color combinations. If you guys wear these vinyls, leave me a comment in the comment section below of which color you wear and what lip liner you wear with it as well. So as the community reads the comments, we can see different variations to maybe put together that might work better for different skin types, different skin colors. That would be awesome. So thank you so much for that. Putting your makeup look together for summer doesn't mean spending a fortune. It means just adding a little pop of color at a price point that's comfortable for you and with products that you know are gonna work, so you're not spending your summer in the return line for products that didn't work for you. I hope some of these do work for you and you feel your most beautiful going throughout spring and summer. Well, I'm gonna go wash my arm off before I make a huge mess, and I will see you guys in just a couple days with the next video. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.